this microphone here. And slightly different lighting today. So let me know if you can hear and see me, please, if that's okay. Thank you. Give me a comment in the comment section. So welcome to BlaXit, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome on board. We're just organising ourselves. Welcome, thank you. I'm Nyanjo Kajabi. Aha, excellent. Hello, everyone. Can someone join him and just let us know that you're there? Thank you so much. Yeah. Let me know if you can see me, if the angle's okay. Yeah? Okay. So BlaXit family, BlaXit family, BlaXit family. Welcome to BlaXit. Thank you, thank you. There's no sound. Okay. So this microphone isn't working. It'll be good if I actually turned it on. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? There's no sound. The microphone's on now. Sorry, I didn't have the microphone turned on. So let me know. Can you hear me? Kath, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we're live. Sorry, I didn't turn the microphone on. That green light wasn't on. I'm so sorry. So can you hear me now? No, it's okay. Yay! It's okay. That's great. Okay, so listen, thank you so much, Victor. Who's that? Hello, Willie Rivers. How are you? Thank you so much. So hang on, did I say it's Jose or Jose? It's Jose. Juliet, get it right. Jose, Willie Rivers, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine actually. Got lots of news, lots of updates to give to you. Lots of good things happening here in Africa. Lots of things to share. Very happy to share. Lots of progress happening in Africa. You know, if you're not here yet, why not? Okay, come and join us. If I'm spitting into the mic, tell me as well, okay? How's everyone doing today? Oh, you're great, thanks. Well, thanks for joining. Anyway, today is a veritable interesting program because there has been progress. I don't know if you've heard about what has been going on, okay? We're going to talk about a few things, but we're going to talk about decolonization because there's been a lot of decolonization happening here on the continent, okay? Decolonization in short terms just means freeing yourself from the colonizer, okay? So that means, you know, taking back your sovereignty, taking back your self-determination, and of course, taking back your money. And today we're going to talk a lot about the independence and having that independence of money and also using the independence of our money. 1.5 billion strong diaspora. Yeah. BlaXit is all about your West back to the best, okay? And that's right. BlaXit is all about your repatriation back to your nation, and that is Africa. And that is exactly what I have done. I'm also known as Juliet, and I was actually born in England, but I first came to Africa like over 30 years ago. For everyone that's a A1 day one, I salute you. Thank you for joining BlaXit. I appreciate your loyalty. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your love. I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. If it wasn't for you all, I wouldn't even be here. So I want to say thank you to everybody that has repatriated, everybody that actually took that risk and said, yes, we're going to do it. And they BlaXit back to Africa. I say congratulations and well done. Okay. I was actually watching this artist who was talking, an American artist who was talking about him coming to Africa. And then he was like, you know, we ain't rich. He was saying, when you go to Africa, you know, with the riches that you have for America, you live like 100% a better life than you would on the same money in America. And I've been trying to tell people that for the longest time. Do you know what I mean? I've been trying to tell people that for the longest time. And so it's not just about Africa's decolonization, it's about our decolonization also. I want to read these comments out as well. Thank you so much. Let me just jump in and say, hello. Okay, much strength. The path forward, let's move, it's Africa forward. Absolutely. And I also have to give credit, you know, to those that came before us, because of course, they have been, you know, trailblazers for us in moving forward with the Africa Forward movement. And the Africa Forward movement is now gaining real traction. And I mean gaining real traction, okay? There are so many diasporan companies, so many diasporan initiatives, so many diasporan corporations that are investing now in Africa, doing fantastic works, whether it's hospitals, whether it's schools, whether it's housing estates. It's so much. So I just want to say to you, give yourselves a round of applause. Give yourself a round of applause today. Give yourselves a clap, because you've all been part of the process since A1 day one. Okay. So I want you to always remember that you are a part of this process. You getting involved in this dialogue, your comments, your encouragement, your support. I want to say a big up to Steve, a big up to Michelle, a big up to a lot of people that have been there since day one, that have helped me throughout BlaXit to support BlaXit, moving forward. Yeah. Greetings from Jamaica. Jamaica. I love my Jamaica. Yeah. Greetings to all of my family in Jamaica. Both my parents were born in Jamaica, although I was born in the UK. And one of the things that I couldn't stand about being in the UK was the racism. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I am not going to pretend. Living in the UK was a very hard experience for me. It was a very harsh reality for me. I'm first gen. If you're first gen, born in the West, give me a fist emoji in the comments. If you're first gen, okay, born in the West, yeah, give me a fist emoji, okay. So I want to say greetings, yeah, to is that black, what does it say, black meal? Yeah, I think that says black meal. I can't see, it's like the background of my clothing's reflected, so I can't really see properly. And greetings from St. Lucia. How amazing is that? Yeah, thank you so much for joining us from St. Lucia. Thank you for the Caribbean's connection, because the Caribbean connection to Africa is so important. Okay, and we need to unite, and we need to work together. We need to trade together. We need to come together. We our roots. This is the roots. Africa is the roots. That is the root of everything. And they want to separate us. They want to make us feel as though, we're this, we're that, we're whatever. But let me tell you something. As one, we are many, and as many, we are one. Yeah. As one, we are many. I want you to put, that. I even want to make a hashtag of that. As one, we are many, and as many, we are one. Okay? That is what we are. We are all Africans, and we are all one. Okay? And we should now, take that and live by it. It doesn't matter what your religion is. I don't business about nothing to your background. But as long as you're a black man, you're African. Yeah, as long as you're a black woman, you're African. Okay? And as one, we are many, and as many, we are one. It's time for us to unite. It's time for us to stop this. I was watching recently a vlog with a man talking about the difference between the experience of Africans who were taken to the America and the Americas during enslavement, and how long it lasted, and the comparison of the difference of the ones that were taken to the Caribbean, and how there's more of a connectivity between the Caribbean and Africa compared to people that were taken to the Americas, because slavery was much longer there, and explaining that, when you was taken to Jamaica or St. Lucia, you still had, your black banker, you still had your black president, you still had your black representation, whereas in America you didn't. And the brainwashing, and they expanded, the enslavement into Jim Crow, into lots of different ways, and how the segregation worked differently, and how that differs in our experience. And I didn't really think about it until he really broke it down and talked about low self-esteem and confidence and so on and so forth, and how that impacted us. But the main thing is that regardless of our experience, we have to come together as one. Yeah, as one, we are many, and as many, we are one. I'm going to keep repeating that until we get it. It doesn't matter if you say you're Buddhist. It doesn't matter if you say you're Christian. It doesn't matter, if you're a Muslim. It does not matter. Okay? We have to come together as Africans now, and we have to come under the patriotic banner of Africa. And I cannot tell you how important it is in these dire financial times. Okay? Yeah, we are the majority. Yeah, exactly. Okay, just the diaspora alone is 1.5 billion. Okay, 1.5 billion of us. Could you imagine what we could do with our fiscal power, with our financial power, if only we invested it wisely? Now, something happened here in Gambia that I want to share with you very briefly. Now, there was a bank, yeah, which was a British bank called Standard Chartered, and it's now been taken over by a Nigerian bank called Access Bank, yeah. And this was something really, really important to me, because where you put your money and where you invest your money is so important, right? And how you spend that money is so important. If we keep empowering and enriching our colonizers, we are never going to get the kind of step forward that we should have, okay, in terms of managing our resources. Say, for example, Burkina Faso released a gold coin that you could buy, yeah, just like other currencies do and other places do, but you could buy this gold coin, yeah. It's like, I don't know, 20, is it 22 carat, something like that? Yeah, gold coin. So rather than going and getting gold from other places and getting these small coins, you could get a decent sized gold coin for the amount that you pay for one of theirs. And we could start all, beginning to collect our wealth. If we started to all land bank, yeah, what a difference that would make, yeah. Yes, I'm on the continent. I'm in the Gambia. I live in the Gambia. I've been living in the Gambia for over 6 years. I've been coming here since 2011. I've been coming to Africa for over 30 years. And I absolutely love it. The first time I came to Africa, let me tell you something, I was so shocked. And I was absolutely upset. I was absolutely vexed, because I realized that we had been sold a complete lie. A complete lie. I'm here, here, living my life, enjoying my life, yeah, and being a part of, let me say hi to, sorry, is that Devon? I think the lights are too bright in my eyes, Or is that Dean? Is that Dean or Devon, Kath? Is it Dean or Devon I want to say hello to? Dean. Yeah, hi Dean. Sorry, the light's a bit bright in my eye. And the other person underneath, is that Canary? Canary and Dean. Where are you? I'm in Gambia, West Africa. I'm in West Africa, and I'm a repatriational specialist. I'm actually a business developer, and I worked as a business developer in the UK, and also as a project manager. And also as a civil servant. And yes, I made the move, I made the jump. In 2019, I decided to leave. I had enough of the racism. I had enough of what I felt was corruption. Because people are constantly extorting money from you, constantly, and that's how I felt. I felt as though every penny I was earning, can you give me some more likes, please, if you don't mind? Every single penny that I was earning, I felt as though I was just paying someone. If it wasn't going in taxes, then it was going in, overpriced goods and, extortionate bills or extortionate charges for things like driving, extortionate costs like just parking your car in the wrong place. Extortionate, I remember once I had to go to the toilet and I quickly ran into like a fast food restaurant just to go toilet and to come out, just like 2 seconds. And I came out and, I got like a fine stamp on my car. I was just, I didn't want to buy because I wasn't staying for half an hour or 30 minutes, but it was just like a continuous thing. And then when, the whole cycle of abuse started with my children. I said, no, that's enough for me. That's enough. That is enough, And so many people who have been following or who know me from the UK will remember the case of my children and the racial abuse, and the fact that I did go public with it. I went to the media, I went on This Morning, I went on, various different news channels, Sky, etc., Fox News, etc., about, the plight and what happened to my son. If you don't know the story, then you can follow it on social media. But briefly, the racism was so bad. We moved because we were trying to do, property development in order to get out of the UK. So we found this distress sale. We bought it, was doing it up, moved the family there, put the children in school, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, they're in school, but racism was so diabolically intense on my children that it started to affect us really, really badly. And it got to the stage where my youngest son, Caffrey, was actually injured at school, and by another child because of racism. And then it got to the stage where my other son, it was terrible, on his last day of school, where they usually write nice messages, on the t-shirt, on his school shirt, wrote the N-word 3 times, coon, and also go back to the jungle, on his shirt. So I went public about it, and I said, you know what, I'm getting out, I've had enough. I've absolutely had enough. So that was part of the reason why I left. I'm just giving you a little bit of the backstory, okay? As well as I just got fed up of the bills, fed up of, I also had to take employers to the employment tribunal for racism and discrimination. And it was just too much. It was just too much. I just got fed up of always being the one stopped, at the supermarket. An alarm would go off before they, check the white woman who's walking through the gates with all the stolen goods. They're stopping me with my receipt. That even happened at Costco's, and I just thought, I've had enough. But I've had enough of always getting targeted, always getting stopped, always getting, I felt like I was wearing a label on my head. But, that's not what it was about. But last week's live got stopped kind of abruptly. So I do apologize about that. And I was talking about, just to briefly add to you, I was talking about some of the achievements that we have made as Africans that is never really talked about. And, that we should be proud to be Africans. I'm very much into our own patriotism, and it's so important. And so I was talking about in 1879 that the first cesarean section that was done, where both the children lived, was done during that time. And both mother and child survived, and that was in 1879. Okay, so a lot of things that we've achieved, and that was like 50 years before the Europeans even discovered the whole process. There's so many things. The first vaccinations were not by Edward Jenner's; it was actually by us, who actually came to when we were enslaved. They were using it for a thing called cowpox, but we actually used it to treat smallpox. Okay, and that was done by Africans in America. Okay, also architecture. The great Zimbabweans had acoustic properties here that surpassed modern engineering, and we also have the Nubian pyramids also that predate the Egyptian pyramids as well. But people don't talk to you about that. Okay, and a lot of the time we don't hear of these things because they don't want you to know how great your background is. I've even been criticized, for talking about how wonderful our civilization is and what we've contributed to humanity. And I also, people say, oh, you don't feel that you're superior. I mean, other nations feel they're superior to us, don't they? Other nations every day feel as though they're superior to us. So why isn't it we can't feel superior from time to time? Is that an affliction? Do you know what I mean? So anyway, I was talking about the higher people also of Tanzania, where they were doing carbon steel blast furnace in over 2,000 years ago. So the Industrial Revolution never started in Europe. Yeah, let's not get it twisted. Let's just talk some facts, okay? So there's a few other facts I'll be sharing along the lives as we go along, but those were two that was missed out from last week. So I'll be just dropping little gems here and there. But I wanted to talk about monetary sovereignty, right? Monetary sovereignty is very, very important. And if you've been watching Captain Ibrahima Traore, if you've been following what's been going on with Burkina Faso, give me a heart, or give me an emoji, give me something, show me some love, okay? Show me some likes. If you've been watching what's been going on in Burkina Faso with Captain Ibrahima Traore, who is the interim president of Burkina Faso, do let me know, yeah? Okay, right, there's lots of comments that I've missed, so I do apologise. Let me start reading that. Woo, pin message. No, I didn't want to do that. John, no matter your nationality, as long as you're a black man or woman, I added woman, yeah, in Africa, yeah, let's work for Africa. Yeah, we need to work for Africa, we do. Everyone has their continent that they're going to work for. Everyone has their place that they call home. We've also got our place that we call home. You understand? Oh, it is Dean. Thank you, darling. Okay. Dean says, I like trains. Okay, so do I. Nico said, you don't hate other races, right? The word hate, you know what? There's something I get very concerned about, and I'm going to lay it straight, okay? I'm going to lay this just down straight. Why do white people always talk about hate when we talk about black people loving themselves? Why do white people always talk of bringing hate about, do you hate other races, when we talk about loving ourselves? Who's got the chip on their shoulder? Who has the self-esteem issues? Who has this, you know, obvious issues of insecurity? I'm very secure in who I am. I'm also very secure about my own ancestry. And that's a mixed bag. But that doesn't mean I have to hate someone to love my own race. Why do I have to hate someone else to love my own race? Why do I have to hate someone? Why does the word hate even come up? Do you know why? Because that's what racism is. Because you hate yourself so much, right, that you have to go around hating other people. That's what hate comes in. Whether you're married to a Nigerian, whether you're married to an Italian woman, that's your personal choice. Yeah, but that's got nothing to do with who hates what. BlaXit is all about our repatriation, relocation, back to our nation, back to our people, back to our investing back in our nation. I didn't talk about mixed race relationships or anything. I'm talking about Africa. I'm talking about building Africa. I'm talking about developing Africa after so many of your ancestors, right, whether directly or indirectly, destroyed it. Whether it was through them sitting down and carving up Africa, taking its resources, stealing its resources, living off its resources. I'm not saying that there aren't people in this world that haven't contributed to Africa, but what I am saying is that I'm dealing with my people right now. I'm dealing with my people right now. I'm dealing with the people that look like me, that want to come back to the place of their ancestry. That's what I'm dealing with. And I'm dealing with sharing information, sharing knowledge, giving us that self-belief, giving us that self-pride, giving us that self-love that was robbed by us during slavery, that was robbed by us during Jim Crow, that was robbed from us during segregation, that was robbed by us during the 70s and the 60s, that was been robbed from us today. So I'm dealing with self-love, okay? Self-love's got nothing to do with hate. So keep your hate, you see, disconnected. Keep hateration. This is a love channel, okay? A love channel. This is about our love for ourselves. And I encourage everybody, from love your own self, okay? But me, I'm loving my people, loving race, loving my Africa. That's why I'm living here. I'm living here because I love it. I'm living here because I love my people. Okay? Love and hate are two different extremes as far as I'm concerned. But if you want to talk about hate, go and talk about hate with your own people, okay? Talk about hate with your wife. Because for you to ask me that, you've obviously got issues. Okay? Now I dealt with that. I don't want any more of that kind of crap here, okay? If you don't feel comfortable, feel uncomfortable. I don't mind having uncomfortable conversations because I'm confident in myself. I love myself as an African woman. I love myself as a divine feminine. I love myself, okay? I love myself, and therefore I don't have to doubt, okay? No, I'm running after no white man. What for? How many beautiful African men are there out here? How many? How many? So many. Okay, there are healed African men out here. Not all African men are damaged. Not all diaspora men are damaged. Okay? We can inspire ourselves. We can do for ourselves, and we have been doing so for a millennia. You took our help. Yeah? You took it by force. You came to Africa and took it by force to build your nations. Okay? So let's not get it twisted. Who hates who? Who hates who? Who took who in chains? Who came and burnt down villages? Who imposed their religion, their education system, their language on people? Who hates who? Who's been stealing resources from Africa from day dot? Who hates who? Okay, so let's just get it straight, okay? So I'm talking about monetary sovereignty and the importance of monetary sovereignty, okay? Very, very important that we use our money carefully. We use our money properly, okay? Because everybody else is. Everybody else is, and they know where to invest, they know what to do, and they know exactly what they want to do to build their nation. Now we need to do nation building too, okay? And we need to do that nation building in Africa. Now, why am I talking about this? Because recently, the president, oh my goodness, his name, you see, that's when I get distracted, I forget things, yeah? But the president of Mole, oh, sorry, it's on the tip of my tongue, it'll come back out in a minute. But the president of Senegal has also announced that he will be leaving the CFA, okay? So the CFA is the CFA franc, which is the colonial currency, okay? The French colonial currency that was imposed, okay, upon them, yeah? And of course that affects their interest rates, their inflation, their exchange rates, yeah? And of course, you know, it affects every aspect of the life of the Senegalese people. And this is a great move in the right direction. And so many other countries, Mali, Niger, and other people are now beginning to take control of their resources, yeah? Because we need economic independence, okay? Economic independence is so important, yeah? We need to have control over our own monetary policies. And that is why I'm telling you about the Access Bank. This is why I'm telling you about African banks and about how we need to, you know, divest our investments out of the West and bring them back into Africa, okay? Whether you invest in land is a fantastic investment, actually. And I am now looking into Burkina Faso's gold, okay? Because I also used to collect gold when I was in the UK as well. I used to invest in gold, okay? So I think that's very important that we start to invest in African gold and African land, okay? Very, very, very important. And BlaXit has done a lot in that direction in terms of facilitating that. And we have been facilitating a lot of people getting their landed investments, and also moving, actually relocating and moving back and helping them to build their house, have their life and have their business. In saying that, before I just stress on, there was a lady that I watched who had settled in Ghana who was talking about people don't leave your money behind because you can't live in Africa, blah, blah, blah. You need, you know, foreign currency and whatever not. So have Africans been coping all these years? Now, how they do it is because they establish businesses, and businesses are very important. Okay, and change your standard of living. Yeah, change your standard of living and come and live like an African. Believe me, you can do it. Okay, we can do it. I'm not saying that you should get rid of any outside investments. No, I believe that you should take the currency from that country. Yes, have as many outside jobs as you like and take that currency, but don't give the impression that you can't survive, because you can. Okay, because Gambians and other people have been doing it for eons. Okay. So what I'm saying is that we should be taking our money out of the West and investing it here. So even if you live here and you have an online job there bringing you in the currency, absolutely nothing wrong with that. Bring as much of their currency and convert it into local currency as possible. It's time for us to do that. It's time for us to, invest where it's best, okay? And that is Africa, okay? Regardless of where you are. I'm really sorry for not going through your comments just recently. I will... Yeah. So I encourage people to go to different locations all of the time. People write to me and even ask me about different locations. And in fact, I've even done a program about, the best countries to repatriate to. So if you've been watching BlaXit for a while, you would know that I have talked about other countries. I've even shown other countries as well. So I am here based in Gambia. So I help people to repatriate to Gambia because Gambia is a very easy step in terms of repatriation. In terms of cost, it's a lot less costly to repatriate to Gambia than it is to Ghana. Yeah. English is very widely spoken here. Gambia is very small compared to Ghana. So it's an easier repatriation. I'm not saying that you can't come to Gambia and then go to Ghana. I'm saying that it's an easier first step into repatriation than going to such a vast and large country as Ghana. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with going to Ghana. And Ghana has taken leaps and bounds and great steps in terms of encouraging us to go there. I'm just answering your comment, okay? So good to see you, beautiful. Who's that? Pierre. Thank you, Pierre. So good to see you, beautiful. Free and doing well. Sending blessings to you and your family and all the diasporans on the planet. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you for sharing your journey and your hard work in the Gambia. Thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you have been watching because we have been doing a lot of work. Community work. We have done lots of community work, some of which you've seen on the channel and some which we haven't shown on the channel because some people decided, unfortunately, in their small-minded, negative, selfish, self-indulgent, ignorant, ill-informed, negative, self-hating ways to try and denigrate the good work that we were doing by adding slander and lies and dishonesty and a lot of hatred, which was unnecessary while we're trying to help our own people. So, don't let the haters influence you. Yeah, come to Africa. Don't let people put you off. Okay, do not, because people tried it with me as well, and I'm so glad I didn't listen. I used my own discernment, I used my own intuition, and I went for it. When I was first going to buy land here, so many people told me, no, you're going to get scammed. No, this, that, no, that. And I said, hang on a minute. I live in England. That is the mastermind of scam. And you're telling me about Africa? Come on now, please. I read this article in the Independent newspaper where this man talked about, England being one of the most corrupt countries in the entire planet. So, we have to stop self-denigrating and putting ourselves down. We have to stop being like crabs in a barrel. And every time someone comes up and they're doing well, I Googled, someone said to me, oh, Julia, you're not seeing how well BlaXit's doing. You're not seeing anything about BlaXit. You're really big out here. Like, this poem was, I think they were talking from Ohio or someone was talking from New York and all these people. And I was like, oh, no, I didn't know. So anyway, I did it like Google. I put, BlaXit and Juliet, or Juliet in Gambia, something like that. And it said like 9.9 million posts on TikTok. I was so shocked. I actually screenshot it. I might share it on the community page. But I was shocked, So we are having impact, family. 9.9 million posts. Okay, that's a lot. That's a lot. So don't worry about like what YouTube's doing. Let's remember that there are other platforms as well. So, I was talking about economic independence and having control over our money. Yeah, because colonial currencies, just like the CFA, right, the CFA franc, what they do is they tie African nations in to a fixed exchange rate, okay? In their own power, in their own country, so in France, for example, yeah? And they limit their ability to adjust their own monetary policy, so they tie them in, okay? And they reduce their ability to address their own economic domestic issues within their own country because they're being controlled, yeah? And releasing these currencies, it allows for independence, okay? So I want to say bravo to Senegal. Let's all, say a big up and put some hearts, send some heart emojis out for Senegal. Senegal now also, he was also with Captain Ibrahima Traore. And I think, he's been influenced positively, which has been amazing. Can you pour me some, please, sweetheart? Thank you. Right? He's been, I want to say thank you to Cafre for doing the moderation for me today. I appreciate it. Yeah. It stops you from having that independence because you don't have any control of your inflation. You don't have any control over your interest rates. You don't have any control over your monetary tools. Yeah. And not only that, colonial currencies, they can facilitate the extraction of resources. And that is the reason why now you see now that Ibrahima Traore is taking control of the gold, look at the country, they were able to clear their national debt within 2 years. Okay? Right? Because he's able to take control. That is why they're having so many problems. That's the reason why, they're trying to take him out. Okay? And so I want to say, this only benefits them. It only benefits them. It's not benefiting Africa. Okay, and they're doing it at the expense of our local development. So what they're doing is they're arresting the development of these African nations. So what they do is under colonial investment, they do little bits of development to make it look good because, of course, they you're their colony. But in realistic terms, they're taking all of your resources. So what they're actually doing with it is actually destroying your country and not developing it. Okay, and also, you don't have monetary sovereignty, which is very, very important because it gives you the utilization of all of your national wealth, And that's why I say to you that Africa is the answer, okay? Because that's going to benefit the nation and it's going to benefit the people. So if you're in Africa, it will benefit you too, okay? Also, with regard to trade and investment, let me say, yeah? When you have your own national currency, trade and investment, it changes like 1,000,000%, okay? Because you have flexibility. When they're controlling your trade and investment, because they're controlling your currency, you don't have any flexibility. It's the same thing as if you live in America, you're limited and they control your taxes, they control your rules, they control absolutely everything so far as that. But when you come to Africa, of course, yes, there are tax rules, etc. But it's far different in the way it's operated, and it's far different in the way in which you can benefit the country, and the range of investments that you can make and make a return on is completely different. And it's not so controlled by all of the litigation, all of the red tape and bureaucracy and lots of limiters, because they don't want you to succeed. Okay, they don't want you to succeed. And so once you've got your own control of your own national sovereignty, you've got control of your own national money, you've got control of your own monetary policies, you can then attract investment from other places. Like, for example, if they released a gold coin in Burkina Faso for everybody to buy in bars and so on, and we would go and we would run and go and buy those currencies and bars, which would attract outside investment, which they couldn't do when their currency was being controlled by the French. They couldn't do that because they didn't have control of their resources. Look how much he's done in that country since taking back control of the resources. Look how many industries he's invested in, whether it was tomato factories, whether it was gold refinery. So rather than sending out the gold as raw, now he's refining it and doing their own gold. He's done so much. If I could spend a whole program just talking about him, but I wanted to talk about why it's important for us to take our money and put it in African banks, why it's so important for us to have a land bank, why it's so important for us to make sure that we got somewhere else to go, because There's certain things that are going to happen. I mean, I'm not into a lot of the, Nostradamus quatrains and all this, but I do happen sometimes to read some or some Magdala ones and stuff like that. And there is, it has been foretold the downturn of the US, especially in the UK, has been foretold. So if we want to stay in their karma, we can, but it's better to have somewhere else to go. And I'm saying Africa is the other place that we can go to, okay? And so I was saying it can also facilitate local reintegration and also integral trade between African nations. Yeah, because you have that freedom. You're not being so controlled. Yeah, so you can create a common currency zone. If you remember what oh my God, Libyan President Gaddafi was trying to do with the gold dinar before they killed him, and they always do that. But decolonization is basically about releasing the colonial currencies, which needs to be done now across Africa. It really needs to be done, and it signifies a complete break from the legacy of colonization on the African nations, and it's the right to self-determination. It's important for us to be able to take control now, okay? But I think Africa needs you, and we need our own governance. That's so important. When you have your own currency, you have your own governance. But we need to do it together. That's why I'm talking to you. We need to do it together. We need to have a national identity, so we need to identify as Africans. That's very, very important. Our identity has to be as Africans, okay? Okay, hang on. Yes, of course, I'm asking about attracted to location. There must be some key factors. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so much information out there on social media now about different countries and their advantages. For me, I was able to build my house, my home, for less than 50K. I have a lovely home, by the way. It's 5 bedrooms. It's got parking for 3 cars. I'm selling my house now. And it's lovely size. I'm very comfortable, very, very comfortable living here. And I could have been tied to a mortgage paying off for a house for 250,000, which wouldn't be worth it in the end. Or save the 50,000 that I would have spent 250,000 on a house for 25 years and get out and be free. And be mortgage free and debt free. Which choice would you make? And then you've got the sun. You've got lovely people around you, lovely environment. You live in veritable beauty. You can grow what you eat and eat what you grow. And don't forget my offer. Don't forget my offer, fam. Yeah, my garden offer. Sharing my garden offer. I told you I've got land in Beneding, 50 by 50, and I'm inviting you to come and farm with me. Come and farm with me, yeah? Julia had a farm. Onyeka had the farm. Okay, so I've got 50 by 50, and I'm encouraging people who want to come and farm with me to come and farm with me. Okay, so I want you to be a part of the process. But like I said, it gives us a sense of pride when you have your own money, when you have your own solidarity, you have your own unification. And you can have your own tailored development. You can also create your own jobs, okay? And you can create your own employment opportunities as well. You also, might have a few issues of economic convergence because, the powers that are still fighting to make sure that you don't have, a basic facility with them, and they'll probably try and want to come and take your president out, the one that's making these strides and moves, with their usual assassination attempts. But nonetheless, we must still try to go forward. Do you know what I mean? There are only 2 countries in Africa which have never been colonized. What are they? Come on. Tell me in the comment section. I'm waking you up, but tell me in the comment section. Now, I've missed a lot of comments, so I do apologize. Yeah. So, exclusive and Talawa. That's my drawback. Burkina, Ghana, Benin, Sierra Leone, accommodating diaspora, and Gambia not. You know, Gambia does. I've got to say this, yeah. Gambia does. And in fact, let me give you a bit of the back history about Gambia. In fact, under the president, Dawda Jawara, he was the first to actually offer diasporans 15 passports. That was back in, I think, 1969. And then it was offered during this festival, okay, under the other president. And this president has been making strides and progress in his program. But like I said, it's been a bit slow. But I am hoping that things will be speeding up, you know, in the near future. But yeah, Gambia always did before. It's just like I said, it was done at the Roots Festival. But then, you know, management changed and certain things. So I will be getting an update on that anyway and send it. And I did ask a journalist to come, but unfortunately we haven't been able to meet because he travelled. So I always say anyway, it's about residency because you still have to stay in those countries for a period of time before you get it. So, you know, it's just, it's up to you. But I personally, I do love the Gambia, and I do feel as though it's worth the wait. I've got my residency, so that's all right by me. I was talking about monetary policy and autonomy because I think that's also something of great issue. Yeah, self-determination in a currency matters, you know, because it allows countries to set their own interest rates. Very important, right? And their own inflation, okay? And also to control their own monetary supply, yeah? And also to sort out their own economic needs and priorities. That's so important. And also economic diversification, also very, very important. They, you know, can have their own independent money policies that can be supported. And they can also, they don't have to rely on imported goods. Yeah, they can invest in their own rice. Say, for example, like Sierra Leone, investing in their own rice. Okay. Why you want? Kath, there's a comment by L.
It says, why you want people to accommodate you and make everything easy for you? There are Black Americans who are doing wonderful things in South Africa, Kenya, and Tanzania.
I absolutely don't know what you're talking about. I don't live there. I live in Gambia.
No, I'm talking to the other guy, not you.
Oh, I see. Oh, I was I was confused then. I was like, I don't understand. I live here. Okay. I got you. Okay. Sorry about that. Apologies. Yeah, I apologize. I'm so sorry. Okay. I misread the comments. I'm gonna go back. Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna call you Africans who are born in America. Okay, if that's okay with you. The same way as I see myself as an African that was born in the UK. I think we need to put, you know, things into place, because that's how other people see themselves as well. Yeah? Because there's no actual country called black, let's face it. You know, we are Africans. Yeah? Thank you, Wendy Green. Monetary and food sovereignty are the key to me. Absolutely. Yeah? Because, you know, we have to be independent. We have to reduce this interdependence. Yeah? And this codependence. It has to be reduced. Also, you know, we have to reduce the reliance on imported goods. Yeah, and Nigeria. Let's talk about Nigeria for a second, okay? Nigeria has got one of the biggest plastics industries, yeah, in Africa. Yeah, it has, and so we don't have to get things from there. Dangote just announced as well that he's going to be the biggest cement producer on the whole of the continent. So come on, look at that. Look at that. How many millions of people live in Nigeria? Yeah, I asked you for the two countries. I think I said two African countries that were never colonized. I'm hoping that you know. Did anyone answer? The two African, Kath, did anyone answer? The two African countries which have never been colonized.
No.
Did anyone answer?
Nobody knows.
Wisdom Quaker Way. Greetings, Miss BlaXit. Oh, my locks. It's my locks. You're royal and more prosperity and abundance and resources. More power. Kisses and more love to you as well. Thank you so much. Yeah. So come on, fam. What are the two countries in Africa that have never been colonized?
Ethiopia. Someone said Ethiopia.
Ethiopia. Yes, that's one of them. Yes. Well done.
And Liberia. Someone said.
Yes. Yeah. It is Liberia. Well done. Well done. Those are the two countries that have never been colonized. But we're still colonized when we're living in with the colonizer. Okay, so I'm switching it on us now. Oh, Juliet's getting hard. Oh, yes, that's right. I'm switching up on you. Yeah. What you doing? Still living with the colonizer? Yeah. If they got you colonized, stuck in a financial hook that you just can't get out of. Have they? You can't even save 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, dollars a month. If they got you hooked in it, their system, because the colonization isn't just on Africa. They're colonizing us right there in the West. That's right. They colonize us by keeping us fooled, like to say that's the only alternative that exists. That is the better way of life. When actually it's not. It's not. Who wants to eat food that is sprayed, with pesticides and spray? It's got all of these different chemicals to make the food last longer. Preservatives, they call them. And you're not actually eating real food. And, they've got the FDA and all of these people, and they're giving us poison. I was reading something the other day, and it was a lady's story, and she was talking about how many people in her family actually had died of cancer. It was incredible. And I was just like, prostate cancer, this cancer, that cancer, this cancer, that cancer. And I was like, where's all of this coming from? And I'm thinking, well, Cafe, grab me that bag there from my brother, right? My brother bought me some things yesterday, right? I just want to show you. Yeah, my brother bought me some things yesterday, so I'm going to share with you. Yeah? Is that it? It was on the table, I think. So anyway, monetary sovereignty, I mean, this is a good example as well, actually, yeah, of how they got us hoodwinked. So they put us in these 25-year binds, or they give us rents that are so artificially high that we're living from hand to mouth. But we're working for them. We're working for them, but we're not actually getting out of the bind because we're not actually able to save. So that's the reason why I'm saying that the West is a debt. And yeah, it is. It holds you hostage. That, you know what? Oh my gosh, that is so right. What you said, it holds you hostage. It holds your money hostage. Even trying to get money sent across to Africa from a UK bank account. Do you know that they even tried to stop the money? We had to take the money out and send it via Western Union. Now, is this not a joke? Is it not your money? Is it not your money? Is it not your money in the bank? Oh my goodness. Yeah. So now they're having, yes, Liberia, thank you. Yeah. Ethiopia is definitely one. Exclusive Taloa, thank you so much for answering. Yeah. Levi also. Yeah. At the end of the day, they're holding your own money, your own hard-earned money, your money that you work so hard for, that you wait monthly to get. They're telling you what you can spend, how you can spend it, how much you can take out of the bank every day, and where you can send it to. like, what is going on? They've got complete control. And I'm saying that we have to release that control. You know, with Nigerian banks like Access Bank, Echo Bank, we now have choices. You know, Trust Bank here in the Gambia, we now have choices. We don't have to. Yeah, we can now invest and save our money in African banks. Allow them. You know, as one we are many and as many we are one. Yeah, we can go and get our land in Africa and say, do you know what? Keep your mortgage. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to do a remortgage, take my money out, and I'm later missing, keep your house. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that you should do that, by the way. Yeah? Before someone accuses me of encouraging people to do things. But I'm just saying, yeah? Like, if I knew what I knew now, like back then, you know, I probably would have done things differently. Do you know what I mean? Because you could have, like, you got a property, you could remortgage that property, like, say you take 90,000 from that property, come build a house for like 30 to 40,000, like, you know, a reasonable, like, little house, depending on how big your family is. Do you understand? You've gone straight. You don't have no mortgage again. You get me? And then you still got money on top to sort out your business and to do whatever. Oh my gosh, you know, hindsight. But that is what monetary control is when you decide to take control of your destiny, taking control of your money, taking control of your life and saying, I have a choice. And when I realized I have a choice is when I said, I'm not dying in this place. I'm not dying in this place. You know, I suffered a cardiac arrest after a hip replacement operation, and I said, I am not dying in this place. Okay, let me read some of your comments. Thank you. That looks like a nice long one. That's a juicy one. Who's that? Okay, only Ethiopia was never colonized. Liberia was originally established by the US colony, run by the American Colonization Society and funded by the US Congress and protected by US Navy. Yes and no, I would say. Yes and no, because there's some other bits I would add to that, but I'm going to go into. It's like a history lesson today. But I do agree with what you're saying. And I do understand. But they were also diasporans, so actually they were Africans too, okay? So, you know, we have to look at it both ways kind of thing, okay? Where was I talking about now? Yeah, I was talking about reduced dependence, breaking free from colonial era and their arrangements, you know, saying bye to all of their taxes, bye to all of their debt, bye to all of their control. The only way that we can do it, and sometimes, is by working in groups, yeah, and working together in groups. But to work together in groups, we need to establish trust, and that's something that we have lost trust in each other, and that's something that we need to rebuild again. Okay, so colonial powers also promote. They don't want to promote a balanced and harmonious relationship within your country. So, you know, they create all of these different types of groups and, you know, different subsections to create civil war and unrest in your country. And of course, you don't want that. Nobody wants that. Okay. And, you know, someone said to me, asked me, and I did say I would answer today because I think it's very important that I answer the question. Someone asked me about how did I cope with making the jump from the UK, and I did say that I would answer that, come back to Africa. And I talked about neuroplasticity. And what do I mean by that? Neuroplasticity is about your mind's ability to change and adapt to different situations. We all have it. Yeah, we all have it. And also not being fearful, not being scared at all. Because I realised that they have been fear-mongering us about Africa. They've been absolutely peddling us fear in films, fear in adverts, fear in newsfeed, in the media. They've been peddling fear. And when I first came to Africa, like I said, it was over 30 years ago, I realised that there was nothing to be fearful of. Absolutely nothing to be fearful of. So, that being said, I just said, I'm going to go for it. It just took me longer to get out because I got kidnapped or kept hostage financially in bondage. I was kept in financial bondage, and to fight to get out was hard. Ooh, the ice dropped. Hang on one sec. Yeah, to fight to get out was incredibly hard, because when you think you're getting free from one thing, it's another. When you think, okay, you're stable in your job, you're going to be able to do that, the next thing you know, they're letting people go. They're making people redundant, or they're just letting go of you. They're reducing numbers. And then you've got to think about, because obviously it's either you've got a mortgage or you've got rent, And then if you don't have either, and you're stuck in the benefit cycle, that's another thing as well, because they're not giving you enough to amass enough wealth with, or to amass enough money with, And then obviously when you're hooked into a mortgage as well, they make you feel as though you're not going to be able to live anywhere else, and it makes you scared. And so, yeah, those are the things, and they make you scared to sell and to leave. Okay, you live so much of a better life. The air quality here, just alone, you just breathe fresh air, you eat fresh food. Kath, where's the bag with the stuff from my brother? Nabs, have you seen the bag with the stuff from my brother? Yeah, where are they? Can you pass it for me, please, hon? Thank you, my darling. So my brother passed around to see me. As you know, I've been adopted into the Kajabi family. Big up the Kajabi family, as always. Yeah, my Jola Kajabi family. And I was also given my name Nyancho by my Mandinka family. So big up my Mandinka family also. I just want to show you something quickly before I go. I'm not going to stay on this live too long. But I just wanted to show you something. Hang on, it's coming. Keeping you in suspense now. Here, it's from, thank you, my love. Okay. So my brother came to see me, and hang on. Okay. So he dropped off, right? Fresh coconuts. Okay. I mean, the bag is huge, so I can't really. Oh, it's really heavy as well. It's full. Right. He dropped off. Look at the size of this mango. It's almost as big as my face, right? I'm not paying, and I gave some away as well. That's right, I gave some away, and there's loads more. Yeah, loads more. But I'm just showing you that, my brother, came from Bussorah. Big up everybody who's in the BlaXit eco village of Bussorah. Big yourselves up. Yeah, 565 plots hard, the biggest Kabilo area, diaspora settlement here in Gambia. Big yourselves up for everybody who invested there. I see that the development there's gone crazy. I'm going to make a program to show people the development. So it also will dispel a lot of the myths and misinformation that's been displayed on the internet as well. Because people love to hate. I didn't even know why people love to hate, and then when I saw the post, like 9.9 million posts, I just went, wow, now I realise where the jealousy is coming from. I didn't realise, because if you meet me, I'm very down to earth, very basic. I'm very oblivious to all this. I'm not a fame seeker, I'm not a clout chaser or anything like that. I just want to get the message out about Africa, about investing in Africa, coming to live in Africa, being a part of Africa. Like I said, Africa is like a mansion of many rooms. Okay, 54 rooms. Yeah, choose one. I've always said that. Yeah, of course I'm biased because I live in Gambia and I love Gambia, but I say Africa because Africa's a continent of 54 wonderful countries. And I've been to several of them and absolutely loved it, okay? But we have to, help Africa, okay? We have to help Africa by investing in Africa. Yeah, it's very, very important. It's very important that we remember that Africa is a part of our legacy. Africa is a part of our destiny. Africa is a part of our inheritance, and it's our birthright. Okay, and we also have to share that legacy, yeah, and create an inheritance for our children as well. Okay, now just to let you know, the Serenity Estate that we have at the moment, which is Riverside in Khartoum. Now, Khartoum, oh my gosh, BlaXit family, I am fighting to keep your plots because so many other people want your land, okay? They want your plots in the Serenity Estate because Khartoum is like the closest place to the Atlantic Ocean here in the Gambia. And also the rivers and the beaches are so beautiful. And it's very, very beautiful. And yeah, it is developed as a tourism destination. Yes, it is. But getting land there, especially Riverside land, is so difficult. And so many other people have been asking me, you know, for your plots, but they're not diasporans. And so, as you know, this is repatriation land for you to come back home to. And yes, I have been helping with payment plans and so on to make sure that you can get your land, okay? Very, very important. And this land is in perpetuity. You know, a lot of other nations, unfortunately, they do like the lease land, where the lease land, you only have it for a limited time, like 50 years or what have you. But no, this is land in perpetuity and is one of the most beautiful, I think, estates that we've had by the river that, you know, I can recall since doing BlaXit. So I don't want you to miss out because there are only less than a handful of plots left. So please, and so I think there's 20 by 25 left. There's 20 by 22 and 20 by 20. So please, you know, go and look at the program that we put out. I haven't put out another program this week because I had a little glitch with my editing, but I will get that sorted, okay, and come back to you on that. But let me just say to you, do not miss out on the opportunity of investing in Africa, okay? Invest in your land is the best investment that I made. Was coming and investing in Africa, coming and investing in Gambia. This house that I'm living in right now is the first piece of land that I bought here, which is 20 by 30 meters, okay? It's the first land that I bought. People were trying to put me off, tell me no, tell me this, tell me that, tell me whatever. I didn't listen, and I'm glad because I had my vision and I follow through with my vision, and I want you to also follow through with your vision, okay? Because it's so important. It's so important, right? That we invest locally ourselves in our own continent. Africa is our continent. It is our home, okay? And I do know that, you know, certain locations are more expensive than others. But like I said, you know, I built my home with my swimming pool and everything for less than 50K. And I'm sure that, you know, even though things are a little bit more expensive now, it might have gone up a little bit, but not so much that it takes you out of, you know, out of the runnings, because it all depends. You don't have to build such a big house. You can build a much smaller house than mine and still be very comfortable, okay? You don't have to. So, BlaXit family, yeah, I'm going to whiz away, and grab something to eat, because it's lunchtime, okay? And I got beans. I don't know if you ever remember watching, there was a cartoon that used to come on with like a Nancy Spider, and he used to eat, he couldn't resist beans, so neither can I. Do you remember that? And it was, he put them in his hat and it burnt his head. But African beans is so nice. African beans is nice, fam. For all you vegans out there that, you know, you love your little coconut with your beans, yeah, coconut milk with beans, oh my gosh, so do I. So, and for all of you that eat the beans with the custard, someone showed me how to make that actually. Yeah, so, and I still enjoy it today. So anyway, without that being said, I just want to really focus on what we started with, just to whip through. Yeah, I talked about a few of our achievements, which was so important. The fact that we were the first to do cesarean sections. Okay, it was all the way in 1879. We were also the first to do the steel blasting as well. Okay, and that was 2,000 years before the Industrial Revolution. Okay, so let's not let them get us twisted. I also posted about the Lumumba bone as well. I also put that on my community page because they want to say that math started in Greece. It never. It started in Africa. Actually, it was Swaziland. So, that's what I've got to say, is that we need to build up our African pride, our African love, our African selves, and keep moving forward. And like I said, don't let anyone talk to you and say to you, oh, being pro-African is being anti-anything, okay? Being pro-African is about loving your people. You don't see, the little John man coming here, come talk about hate. Who hate who? For what? That's why I don't have time for them, I don't have time for them. Anyway, so let's keep it focused. Let's keep going. Abinyadi to everybody. Yeah. Abinyadi and, Nangadef, how are you? Yeah. Abinyadi's Mandinka, how are you? Nangadef is Wolof for how are you. So I'm just, saying how are you to everybody, and just to say thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to BlaXit. I appreciate you. I want to grow the channel a bit, so I will be putting in some real hard work in the near future. I did strain my back a bit, doing a little bit of farming. I hurt my back, you see. I overdid it, and now my left shoulder's like frozen. It's really painful, but I said I'm coming and I'm going to keep going live on a regular, so because I want to encourage you to come home. And I think we're coming into crucial times. I know that if you have been watching what's been going on in the world, you'll know that there's some very strange things happening, and they're markers for you, okay? They are markers for you. And I have talked about things, happening, or, people might call them predictions, what have you. But I know that I've been called on this mission, call it a divine mission, what have you, to bring you home, to bring you back to the promised land. This is the promised land. I tell you this now. This is the paradise that they have been lying to you about, okay? This is the promised land, okay? And it gives you a sense of peace. You can't buy inner peace. You just can't. It gives you a sense of serenity, tranquility, relaxation, peace of mind. I think mental clarity and self-knowledge and self-love. And you can't buy that. It really gives you a sense of belonging. And that's priceless in my view. I don't want to be a slave. I didn't want to be a slave to any one system. I didn't want to be a slave, that hamster wheel, that mice wheel, that could you set a calf? Could you ask Nabi to keep up voice down for me, please? Because I can hear it bleeding in. If you don't mind for a sec. Yeah, being here has given me peace of mind, and I can wake up. I can wake up comfortably, and I can feel relaxed. Yes, I have got obligations I have to honor, just as everybody else has. I've got things that I have to organize and settle and sort out. Of course I have, just like everybody else. I'm a mother, but I'd rather be a mother here than there. And seeing my son happy is giving me the joy that I needed. He was crying his eyes out saying he wanted to come home. And so I followed my intuition. I listened to my child because he couldn't take it anymore in England. And so I left, and it's the best decision I've ever made, and I've got no regrets. So if you are interested and you are serious about wanting to leave and you want my support, yeah, I don't charge for my support, okay? And I've been doing this for years now, okay, helping people. And you can get in contact with me via WhatsApp, okay? And that's +220, no haters, please. And please, I don't want to see another private part of man who sends me their, tiny little weenie, okay? Please stop sending me pictures and disgusting videos of your weenies, yeah? Yes, I am a single woman, but no, I am not a desperate woman, and I have high standards, okay? Very high standards, and I do not want perverts. So please stop abusing my text line, yeah, sending me your nasty weenies. I do not want to see it. I am not interested. Yes, I'm not man hungry. I am not desperate. Okay, just let that known, because it's been happening all too frequently now. It's to get on my nerves. It's a type of harassment. Okay, and so I'm not interested. Okay, please let me make that very, very clear. I'm very, very selective. Okay, I am very, very selective. As everybody knows, I have been divorced for over 3 years. I have been single. Okay, and happily single. Okay, I'm not remarried. Okay, okay. Let me just make that very clear. But I'm not out here man hungry looking for man. Okay, so please stop sending me those disgusting images and videos and all the rest of it. Not interested. Stop abusing it for other BlaXit people that want to get through and send positive messages. I do not want to stop the text service, because there are people that are really on the verge of wanting to leave and they need a bit of advice and support. And so they text me and then I call them back. I don't want you texting me acting as though you're looking to come across, and then I open it, this video thing, and then I see disgusting things, and it's happening too much. Yeah, and I also know your number code, so I know that one's from New York, one's from Jamaica, yeah, one's from Switzerland, one is from France, and the other ones were from Netherlands. So please stop it. I'm not interested. Okay, not interested. So let me just make that very clear. Okay, don't want to see it. Not interested. Okay, and for those Europeans that have done it, certainly not interested. Okay, okay. So let me just make that very, very clear. So please do send us a text if you are interested in making that jump across to Africa. If you want to BlaXit, you can do so via +220 240 5273. We'll put it in the comment section below. That's +220 240 5273. If you're serious and you want to talk to me about the process, I'm glad to share my experience with you and to share tips and steps on the right way to go so you can start the journey. And also you can, if you're interested in getting a plot of land, you can do so, and we have different plots at different prices. Some plots start as low as just over $1,000. So do make that jump. Okay, they are there. The opportunities are there for you. Okay. All right. So if you want to email us, the email is info@blaxithome.com. That's info@blaxithome.com. Okay, fam. So listen, I'm going to jump off now, but I just want to say thank you for joining me. Thank you for staying with me on this. And I want to say, please listen, we have African banks and we can take our money out of the West and bring it back to the best. That's what I've been saying. So we can now start investing in African banks. Go look at it. Go look at those banks that you can invest in and start to do so. It's very, very, very important, okay, that we start to put our money where our mouth is. We start to invest in land. And we'll get back to you about the Burkina Faso gold and see what can happen there. There's someone on the ground there that wants to do the initiative, and I think it's a great initiative. I'm not actually involved in it, but I might just promote the opportunity once the coins are pressed and so on and so forth, because nothing would give me greater joy than to promote selling African gold to Africans, and of course it won't be the same exploitative prices we would have if we was to buy it through Europeans. So yeah, that being said, I will keep you briefed up. There are lots of different things. I was watching something online about what do we call it? Some new coin that's coming out, a bit like Bitcoin and stuff. And I'm watching. You know, at the end of the day, I want us to make money to be able to get out. And so any investments, I'll let you know. So yes, that being further ado, thank you for keeping my company this afternoon. Thank you for joining BlaXit. Please remember to subscribe, like and share, okay? Please do so. Please help to build the community, grow the community. And you know, as you know, we have been demonetized, and you know, there is a lot of shadow banning going on many channels, and channels just going, you know, who have similar topics to ours. So please help to keep us strong, help to keep us going by supporting and, you know, sharing the content. Not just this content, we've made over 600 videos. So please do so, yeah? And let's, you know, get rid of those naysayers by putting out positive information about Africa. All right, so I love you lots. Yeah, I love you lots. Into the mic. And I'll see you next week, same time, same place.